Hi there. I'd like you to listen to me for the next few seconds, but I'd like you to listen to me doing it with your eyes closed. So here we go. Imagine an old man sitting on his rocking chair, looking out the window of his apartment. He sees dark clouds gather in the background and pulls his sweater over his shoulders as he braces for the chill winds that are coming through. He puts his head back on his chair as he reminisces about the time when he was a child and used to love playing in the rain. Open your eyes. Were you able to visualize that old man? So here are a few questions for you. What was he sitting on? What kind of accommodation was he living in? And what was the weather like outside? What was the color of the sweater he was wearing? And how old was he? Let's go through the answers, shall we? I'm guessing you got the right answers to most of this, right? If you guessed that he was sitting on a rocking chair, absolutely right. If you guessed he was living in an apartment, absolutely right. If you guessed that the weather outside was gloomy or cloudy or rainy, absolutely right. What was the color of the sweater? No right or wrong answer to this one, because I didn't tell you the color of the sweater. And if you guessed a color, that came from your imagination. What was the age of the old man? I'm guessing you know by now. I never told you this one either, but you probably thought of a certain age, maybe 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Why am I giving you the story, and what does it lead to? Tip number 3, using the power of story. Why? Well, if you notice in this example, right, there were certain things I gave you that were factual in nature, like the rocking chair, like the weather outside. But there were some areas that came from your imagination. Why did that happen? Like the color of the sweater, for instance. Well, that's because when you tell stories, you not only engage the logical parts of a person's brain, you're also triggering what we call the visual cortex, which is kind of located at the back of your brain. And because you're doing so, you let people imagine things. And when they imagine things, they're more engaged in your communication, they're more engaged in your presentations. So, tip number 3, use stories, right? You can even tell stories about data. Try this out. Take an example. Go onto TED.com and listen to Hans Rosling, the late Hans Rosling. He was brilliant at telling stories with data. So there are multiple examples out there, but you can start your own story. Right, so tip number 3, use stories. So let's summarize where we are. 3 tips to make your communication and presentation much better. Number 1, use the rule of 3. Don't give people more than 3 ideas at a time. Number 2, use a hook to draw your audience in. And number 3, use stories to engage them. I've used them over the years, and I've coached hundreds of people to use them very, very impactfully and very, very effectively. And here's wishing you the best in implementing these stories at your workplace.